Blessed risings, good afternoon or good evening, depending on where in the world you are tapping in from. You got to keep in mind that Keep It P podcast is a global show. And today, on this episode of PC Shenanigans, we will be discussing son allegedly kept long dead father in unplugged freezer because every time he tried to dump him in desert, there were people around out there. Yes, buddy. There are always people out there. There was always. Look at his face, though. You telling me he isn't full of PC shenanigans? Are you telling me he does not look like he eats people? Tell me he does not look like he's killed before. You don't think he looks like he killed before? Look at the crib. It's all boarded up on pieces of it. Fam was living in this joint, fam, with the dead body. And why wouldn't you keep it plugged up so it didn't stink? You just living in there with the stinking hot dead daddy in there, boy. What was you gonna do? You could have buried him in the back almost. It looked like you don't live in a neighborhood where people gonna ask too many questions. See, that's that low IQ. I'm just saying that's that low IQ. Otherwise, you tell me what is it in the comments. If it's not the low IQ, what is it then? You tell me. He looked like he eat people. He looked like he fondled dondled with either mom or dad, or mom and dad. Gave him the fondulation, or allowed him to be fondulated. And his dad definitely abused cuz. But is that all the violin stories that they try to say on why they act depraved like this? Right? But all of that's depravity, right? That's a culture thing. Maybe it's DNA. Maybe it's in your makeup. Maybe. I don't know. Right? Hello, McFlizzle, not trying to tell you what to think, trying to show you how to think. That's why we break down the articles the way that we do here on the Keep It P podcast, where we take news, situations, and everyday occurrences, and we show how one could or could not be keeping it P. And I am your host, TZ Von Savage, in the place to be. Let's dive into this. In Arizona, man, so you're already in the desert. That's what I thought. You desert, you didn't have to drive that far. Like there's only one desert in the desert. You're in the desert. You're in Arizona. It's the desert. So you're everywhere's the desert, right? Huh. Arizona man wanted to keep living in his house, so he kept his dead father in the freezer in the backyard. Police in the Grand Canyon state say. Where? Joseph Daniel Hill Jr., 51, stands accused of one count each of failure to report a death, a misdemeanor, and one count of concealing a dead body, a felony, according to the Tempe Police Department. Tempe, okay. That's more of a city, more of a suburb. So there isn't just desert right there. But he still acts like there was only one desert he could go to, like there's not desert in other directions. More charges could be in the offing, police say. Last week, officers allegedly received a tip about someone's body, and I don't know what an offing is, by the way. Yeah, more charges could be in the offing. OFFING. Last week, officers allegedly. Hold on, now I can't just go past that. Or are they just miss? Is that just a miss? Is that a misprint? Oh, offing in the immediate future, soon to come, in the offing. Okay. All right. So soon to come. Why you just didn't say soon to come? More charges could be in the offing. Okay, here we go. We we got a viewer, Michael Coffey. he always tries to gargamel mouth all these old big words and tries to use these old different vocabulary and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there is. What I'm saying is you do it on purpose, knowing other people don't know what that means, so that you have to explain then what it means, therefore making yourself seem smarter and more important, right? Because you need that. Right. So don't even try it, Mr. Coffee. Last week, officers allegedly received a tip about someone's body being stored at the residence on Dorsey Lane in Tempe's Optimist Park neighborhood. The large city is one of many distinct municipalities located in the broader Phoenix metro area. On October 22nd, the same day they received the tip, officers made contact with the defendant and requested permission to enter and search the premises, according to law enforcement sources cited by CBS affiliate PBHO. The defendant declined, but allegedly mentioned something about his father dying several years prior. Later that same day, detectives returned armed with a probable cause warrant to search the house. Police say the man's demeanor changed upon the second visit. The defendant allegedly told investigators there was going to be something in the freezer. There inside the unplugged device, investigators found skeletal remains of a man the defendant would allegedly identify as his father. So there was just a skeleton in there found? You couldn't bury that in the yard, cuz? The little bones, cuz? You couldn't bust down the bones, cuz? You Neanderthal low IQ mayonnaise bottle. Wow. Talk about lazy. I mean, you can't even be lazy to get away with your crime. You're so lazy, fam. You didn't even attempt to get away with the crime. And that just is when you talk about what privilege. I don't know what no privilege is. The privilege that you just believe that you just didn't even have to really hide the body. You didn't really even have to hide the remains. I'm just going to put you in this Frigidaire unplugged. Everyone's making a point to say unplugged. You doofus. They're inside the unplugged device. And then here they go. There was going to be something in the freezer. They're inside the unplugged device. Why not the unplugged freezer? No, the unplugged device. Shut up. Investigators found the remains, you goofy. Notably, the Maricopa County Office of the Medical Examiner has yet to confirm if the body is indeed Hill Sr. Or how the man died. Hill would recount quite the ordeal regarding the retention of the human remains. After being Mirandized, the defendant allegedly said he was with his father at the house when he took his last breath over 4 years ago. The son, however, allegedly said he realized his name was not on the deed and might lose the property, so he never reported the death. Okay, what that got to do with the bones, fam, stupid? Once again, you could have buried cuz. And then how is you paying any of the bills, cuz? You working? It don't look like you're the working type, cuz. It looked like you're working on killing your next victim so you can eat them, allegedly. It continues. The day after his father died, Hill bought a freezer to keep the body from decomposing. How'd you keep it from decomposing without turning it on, dummy? Wow. The defendant had initially planned to bury the body on a plot of land he owned in a tiny community of Strawberry, a census designated place near the Mongolo Rim, located roughly 100 miles northeast of Tempe. Owning land. Oh, cuz got some of that. Oh, he got some of that daddy bread. Boy, you been stealing from your daddy, huh? So the freezer and its contents made their way back into the backyard of the house on Dorsey Lane. His plan fell through after a fire on the second property led to the loss of power. What? So he was going, you said you was going to bury it there. What does that got to do with electricity? What are you talking about? You don't need electricity to bury the body. That don't even make sense. Your plan fell through after a fire on the second property led to the loss of power. So the freezer and its contents made their way back into the backyard of the house on Dorsey Lane. Right, you said you was gonna bury it. No, you was lazy. But you this how stupid you is too. Lazy and stupid. Now, you don't want to dig for the body, but you'll go ahead and bring the freezer with the body back, though. You'll cart that back and forth, but you won't dig the hole for the body. You lazy dum-dum. Then there was another fire. This time, Hill allegedly said the blaze occurred at his father's house in June 2023. Again, the freezer lost power, so the defendant allegedly said he repeatedly began loading the freezer into the back of his truck to bury his father somewhere out in the desert. This plan was foiled over and over, the younger Hill allegedly told investigators, because there was always people out there. At some point, the defendant appears to have given up the idea of burying or even keeping his old man on ice. Police allege the freezer sat in the backyard without power for the last 4 to 6 months. Inside the consumer appliance, and just can't call it a freezer, huh? Inside the consumer appliance, investigators allegedly found a tarp, moving blankets, large quantities of plastic wrap and duct tape, ratchet straps, bed sheets, a skeleton, and an extensive amount of biological matter. Despite marshaling extensive resources to look into what happened to Joseph Hill Sr., law enforcement says they found very little. Along with the absence of a death record, investigators discovered that Elder Hill was still listed as the owner of the house and had received Social Security benefits until March 2023. Neighbors said they relayed some details that align with the law enforcement narrative of the case. The defendant is said to have grown up in the house with his mother and father. Some neighbors said other neighbors recalled a fire there sometime in the recent past. At the present time, the house remains under construction and has been for some time. On the day of the arrest, construction crews repeatedly filtered in and out of the residence. The defendant's case is not docketed on the Maricopa County Court System's public system as of this writing. No details from the Tempe Police or nothing. Mind your business. We got this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We gonna give cuz some little probation in a year and a day. In under a year and a day. So he don't have a felony. But it don't even matter if they have felonies or not, because you can be president, right? So he gonna get the year and a day, and he gonna get 5 years of probation. Bang, bang, bang. That's what he gonna get for having a dead body and killing his daddy and been spending his money and been in his crib doing all you know what, all the bussy, all the dope, allegedly. You know he's been doing it. And what did we learn here today, boys and girls? They are some goulash, ghouls. That's what we learned. That's it. That's all. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm just going to mold you, fold you, scold you about being off code. Going to leave you with 4 words as we always do around this time. Subscribe for the vibe, like for the spike, comment your vomit, and share. And share if you dare, if you care to get Black empowerment everywhere. We are on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. Come and take a look. You might get hooked. Don't get shook by the fake. And I mean the fake Keep It P podcasts that are out here, because there are some. Love, peace, blessings, and aloha. I gotta go ha for show ha. You already know how. Big Brother Light Bright Supreme Almighty signing off.